not play tomorrow. He is still sore, and for whatever reason, it's still sore, and trying to figure it out. But we don't think it's a long-term deal at all. But as long as it's still this sore, he says, and limits him at all, there's no reason to put him out there yet. So that's where we're at.
With signing day, you now have 4 members of your class on the books. What's your perspective on kind of how this class came together, and where do you feel you're at in terms of potentially adding more?
I think the class is pretty good. We're probably a player away from it being an elite class, but I like the 4 guys we got. And then obviously, we've got a commitment from a young kid as well. But I think we're probably a player away from what I would view as a legitimate top 5, top 3 type class. And we're recruiting some guys, so hopefully that'll play out to be true. I don't know if it'll happen this early signing period, but we'll have to wait and see.
Real quick, just for context on Darren, when was the first time that he mentioned the hamstring issue being something that's bothering him?
First time, weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's played with it, but it's still sore. So medical staff and everybody thinks it's something that's healing and getting better. But the reality of it is, after the Carolina game, you guys remember that first burst that he had when he stole the ball and had the layup, first 2 points of the game. He didn't stretch it. I mean, he didn't do anything bad to it, but he said it just felt different since then, like tight. And that's all it is tightness. We'll just kind of play it by ear day to day and see where it goes. But he's doing he's been doing all that for a while. It's just a situation in which he's been doing it long enough that he shouldn't be feeling it at all, and he still is a little bit.
Got it. And on the recruiting front, with Talon, with his skill set, do you remind you of any past point guards you've had?
Mario, maybe. He's a scoring point, and I think that's what Mario was as much as anything. Kind of built like Mario a little bit more so than Sharon or any of the guys or Devontae, but he's a point, but he's a scoring point. So I think could he be a Devontae type or a Mario type? I think he could be.
And same thing with Davian, with his wingspan. I know in the release you mentioned he's a power forward, but he can play 5 too. Yeah. Skill set wise, remind you of anyone else from the past?
I'm thinking right now. Offensively, he's certainly not Shady yet. But Shady was also arguably as good a freshman as it was in the country. But the only one that comes to mind right now, probably doesn't shoot it as well as Markeith, but a more athletic, bouncier player like Markeith. He's a skilled guy that doesn't really shoot it as well, but he's got a lot of, both hands, passing. He's really, really long. He's got a lot of game, but he doesn't stretch it as consistently as what probably Markeith did at the same age.
What stands out to you about Princeton?
What's that?
About Princeton.
I could be wrong on this because they're shooting over 33s a game. They back cut the heck out of you, and we've struggled guarding back cuts. So, if you can eliminate threes and back cuts, that would probably be a pretty good formula to have at least a little bit of defensive success, because they can make you look pretty foolish with those 2 things.
And then, so is Darren still practicing, or is he just not practicing at all?
He hasn't practiced the last 2 days.
when does it become a problem? Coaches love practice so much and he's not getting to play with the other starters.
Yeah.
How concerned are you about team development?
I will be if this thing, prolongs. No question, Gary. But right now, a couple of days, I'm not. Guys, he practiced the day of our game on Tuesday. But he said it just feels tight. So, and it still felt tight yesterday. So.
Is it tight hamstring? Is that what we call it? Mm-hmm. What about the Duke game? Is there hope he plays?
Well, yeah, there's hope, but we're not. We'll have to wait and see how he feels. So we'll show up regardless.
What do you think of playing a team as good as Princeton this early? An Ivy League team that's known, for passing and all that.
Yeah, historically, the Princeton's had one of the best programs. Well, historically, they probably do have the best program, in the Ivy. Then with Yale. Yale's been on a roll lately, but going back historically, they knocked me out in the NCAA tournament when I was a player. Way back when Craig Robinson was actually one of their starting forwards on that team.
20 points.
What's that?
He had 20.
Against Oklahoma State?
Yeah, you had 8.
I played. You know what? But my 8 was impressive. It really was an impressive 8. I'm joking. He had 20 though. Man,
So did another guy, but I forget his name.
yeah, well, he wasn't the first lady's brother. Yeah, the historically great program, and they play similar, but not the exact style. They're probably casting up and playing faster, more quick threes than what they did even when Coach Creel was there.
I was interested in something you said about Trent when you announced his signing, when you referred to him as someone who, when he's on your team automatically becomes better. I'm just wondering, how do you kind of deduce that someone has that quality in the process of recruiting them, and how do you see that?
I heard that from his coaches, that they can't take him off the floor. And there's one other guy I heard it from through Mocan named Christian Brown. And Christian told me, because I said, have you seen him? He said, oh my God, he's my favorite player to play with when I play pickup or whatever, because he just knows how to play. So, he's a big guard, defend 1 through 4, athletic, got to get more consistent shooting the ball. But if you have shooters around him, then that's fine. But you probably need to have some shooting around him.
Bill, when you watch Bryson Tiller, does he remind you of any player from the past? There's a comparison that you feel like fits him, or do you think his skill set's kind of unique in the sense of what he offers?
Well, I think, let's just talk about Markieff all day. But to me, that's the guy that he reminds me of. Same size, same body type. Markieff, they can both stretch it, both skilled. Markieff maybe a little bit more bounce off too, but I think there's some similarities there.
Yeah, and when you have these comparisons of guys that kind of remind you of the past, do you reach out to the guy from the past, hey, will you talk to him about your game at all, or mentor him a little bit?
To be honest with you, the first time I thought about who he compared to was just now when you asked me the question. I haven't. Now that doesn't mean that Markieff and Marcus and Mario, they've all been to practice. Mm-hmm. They've seen us play. But as far as saying, hey, would you get to him because your skill sets are similar? I haven't done that with him in that regard.
I think the analysts all say you have a 1 or 2 recruiting class. Do the coaches take pride in that? And
I don't think. I actually don't know that that's the most recent one. Is it the most recent that our class was 1 or 2?
Well, yeah. 3 being the lowest, I think 1 the highest.
Really? Okay. Well, that's pretty good. But I will say this: there's a lot of things that can still develop that will elevate us or whoever if they're able to have a good November. So. That's great. I love hearing that. I think if things fell right, then I certainly think this could be a class that could rank up there with one of the best that we've had.
can you still hit the portal? Do you have enough spots?
Yeah, Gary, you're asking questions that you don't know the answers to, because how do you know who's going to return on your team? So the way I look at it, how many guys you know you're going to lose? Those can be freshmen. How many guys you unexpectedly lose? Those can be portal guys. Meaning guys that could return and don't. So I imagine we'll have space to still enter the portal when the time's right.
Following up on that, how much for these 4 that you signed was about just finding the best guys you could, and how much was fit for who you think might be back on the roster next season?
I think it was more about guys without the concern of who's returning. Because I don't think you can look at it that way. We can say, oh yeah, these guys are supposed to come back, these guys are scheduled to come back, but still, even with that being said, you could have a guy test the waters and stay in. There could be a lot of things that could happen. So I think this was more about what fits us on what we want to have on our roster and coach, but not based on, well, we need a 4-man or a 3-man. Just go get the best players you can. But one thing we did need, we needed a point guard. So we knew that.
On a serious note, as a competitor, do you take an extra motivation against Princeton? Do you remember that game well?
I just told you, I thought I was great.
Because they knocked you out of the tournament.
In the first round. Yeah, I remember that. Thanks, Gary. I remember that too. I haven't thought about that in 30 years. So, no, I don't take extra pride in that whatsoever.
All right, thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
All right.